Hello, my beautiful geeks. So today I'm not reviewing anything other than books. I decided for a new segment on my channel where I review books because I love reading and I want to share books that I think are great and not so great, and hear your guys' opinions in the comments. So, as you can see from the title, you already know what I'm reviewing. Today I am reviewing Stephen King's It. I just finished this book. It took me a month. I don't know if I'm a fast reader or what, but it took me a month to read this book. I thought it would take longer. Before I read this book, I did see both chapter 1 and 2, the recent ones, as well as the miniseries, so I thought I was prepared for what I was about to read, but I wasn't. I was not prepared. The book is so different from the movies. It's like its own little universe. It's like, I don't know. I mean, this is the book that started it all, but it's completely different. It does take, the kid part of the book does take place in the 50s. The adult does take place in the 80s, which is very much what the miniseries did, even though the movies today take place in the 80s and present time, which I think I prefer a little bit more than the 50s. But considering this book was written in the 80s, it's totally understandable. I can't complain at all. I do, I mean, if you guys don't know what it is, which I would think you all would if you're watching this, but maybe some of you don't, and that's okay. It is about, this clown that kills, one of the members of the Loser Club, which is what they call themselves, out of the 7 kids. Brother Georgie, and I'm trying not to give spoilers, and the older brother wants to find out, like, he doesn't believe that his brother was, like, murdered. He wants to figure out what this entity is that is killing kids in the town, and his friends help him. And this book is very much about friendship and a lot of other things. I am going to go through the book now and tell you my thoughts. I'm kind of all jumbled up here, but I think I'm just trying to figure out what I want to format this as, so please bear with me, guys. But I did enjoy the book. I did find some parts great. Like, I like how it's in parts. The book is split into parts, how some chapters at the beginning start with the kids and some start with the adults, and then they kind of interweave between the kids and the adults as the book goes on. They have interludes, which are written by Mike. There's 4, I believe. No, 5 interludes. I'm glad that they didn't make it into the movie. I found them quite boring, but that's just my personal opinion. I didn't care for them. I saw no point in them, but maybe, I mean, it did give history on, like, it throughout, like, these, like, incidents that happened throughout the town, which, I mean, I guess gives you some backstory, but I didn't really care for them. There's something about a turtle, which I have read the whole book and still don't understand what it is. If you know what it is, comment down below, because I don't know. I guess we'll talk about the characters and how they're different from the movie counterparts. I think Richie in the book, his humor is questionable. It's kind of racist, and that makes me sad because I love Richie so much. Eddie is still Eddie. I feel like Bill is still the leader, still Bill. Bev, I don't like Bev in the books. I do not like her. Just because, spoilers, by the way, starting right now. Just because she, like, has an affair with Bill, even though he's married. She, like, how do I go by this? How do I say this? She, like, has sex with all the losers as kids, which is really weird. I didn't like that. That was very uncomfortable. I'm not here for that. Ben is still Ben. Sweet, kind Ben. Mike is actually more historian in here. He is more the historian than Ben is in the current ones, which I liked. I feel like it gave Mike something to do, unlike the movies, which they just made him turn out to be like a drug addict, which he's not, and that's one of the things I would change. I did not care for that. Who am I forgetting? Stan is a little bit different. I think he's still into birds, which is perfection. I don't remember the painting in here. I don't know. He's still Jewish. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Henry is terrifying. But Patrick is even more terrifying. There's a whole chapter on him, and it really gives you more into his character, which the movies didn't really go into. But he is one of the most terrifying characters. I think he's even more terrifying than Pennywise himself. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Eddie's death scene was heartbreaking. I still hate that he had to die. I didn't want him to die, but clearly he had to. Which makes me mad. And they left him there. Like, are you kidding me? I know in the miniseries they didn't leave him, but like in chapter 2 they left him, and it makes me mad and it makes me sad because Richie didn't want to leave him, and they still made Richie leave him, and it makes me infuriated because they should never left him in that sewer, because you know he wouldn't want to be left in the sewer. So like that makes me frustrated. Stan is still dies after the phone call, which we all knew was coming. Tom, like Beverly's husband and Bill's wife, like go to Derry. I feel like that was in the miniseries, but Tom didn't go. It was just Audra. I could be wrong about that. Which I felt that was stupid. I don't think there's any point to her even going. Because they were gonna go defeat Pennywise anyway, so her being there didn't really matter at all. God, this is such a fat book, you guys. I read 1,153 pages of this book. I'm glad the movies took out things that weren't important. There's a lot. I think it's long because there's a lot of like background on the characters, but there's also like background on the town, which actually gives you more information about Derry and everything, so it makes sense. Oh, I hate saying this. I think the book is great, but I love the movies a little bit more. Chapter 2 I felt could have been a little bit different. They could have done some things differently, but I'm not here to talk about movies. I'm here to talk about this book. Chapter 1 I think was done beautifully, and I kept imagining the kids and the adults as their versions from the movie, which made reading this book interesting. I think I would recommend this book to you guys. It gives you more background on characters. It gives you a different perspective on the kids and the adults and everything. it was a good read for the summer. If you're younger than, oh my god, I'd say 16, I wouldn't recommend this book to you. It's a little bit more adult. It's a little bit scandalous. The horror in the book isn't that bad. I'm very sensitive to horror, so I was very, very nervous to read this book. But to be honest, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, if you're young, I don't recommend the book. There's things that you probably shouldn't read at such a young age. But if you're 16, I guess high school. If you're in high school, read this book. And up, read it. But if you're in middle school still, like if you read it in middle school, I don't care. That's fine, you do you, but I'm just saying I recommend it to an older audience just because it is, there are some adult topics in it. Which makes sense because this book is made for adults. But us teens have taken the fandom over. So, I think it was a great book. I don't know what to say, guys. It was just really, really good. There were parts I thought that didn't need to be in there, obviously, but I think with any book to movie adaptation, there's always going to be changes. I definitely prefer the changes they made in the movie. In the movie, I felt like how Eddie broke his arm made sense, because in the book, it's Henry, and I think it was either Henry or Patrick that broke his arm. I think it was Henry, but in the movie, I think it made more sense because they went through knee bolt and everything, and whatnot, and just him falling through this old house makes sense to me. I think it was better, and that's how they see Pennywise for the first time, even in the book. So I think that was just perfect, because, I don't know, the rock fight I think was done better. Because the rock fight in the book, I think, is like near where they did it in the movie. So that made much more sense than they did in the miniseries, because they did it like in the middle of like, I guess a construction site, you could say. But yeah, no, I think if you read the book and then want one of the movies, like if you wanted to watch it but you didn't know if you should start with the miniseries or the most recent ones, I recommend the most recent ones because those are more, it's more condensed and more, what is it? What's the word? It's more faithful to the book. The miniseries is also kind of faithful in some parts. I remember Audra showed up some point in there at the end. The way Eddie died in the miniseries was stupid because it just looks stupid, but I love Eddie Kazbrak in the miniseries, so whatever. I have to say, the death scene in this book broke my heart more than it did in the 2019 movie. The death in this one was just so heartbreaking. Like, Richie's reaction breaks my heart. It just... I love Richie and Eddie together, can you tell? What else was I gonna say? I had something. What was it? I'm just gonna sit here until I figure it out. No. But yeah, this book was long. Some things I remember, some things I don't. I don't know what to say, man. It was a really good book. I recommend it. Please check it out. It's long, but if you need a really good summer read, I recommend this. Because it takes place during the summer, and I think reading books when they take place in like the like season you're in, like this takes place in summer, I think that's just fun, and I think it just gives a little bit more like that feel. Like I like to read outside, so it kind of like when I read it, I feel like the summer heat and the sun and the wind, and it makes me feel like I'm actually with the kids and the Barons or whatnot. So I definitely recommend checking this book out. It's a good read if you want something a little spooky, a little fun. It's, yeah. Please check it out. I'm definitely going to do more book reviews. I know this one was kind of weird, but I'm hoping that the next one will be a little bit more, like, what's the word? More organized. I gotta say, yeah, so please check out the book. I do recommend the book if you're older and in high school. I recommend the movies, 2017 and 2019. I also recommend the miniseries as well as the game. That was actually a fan game, and I'm just going to shout it out because it's amazing, but it's called Use Your Outside Voice, Richie Tozier, and it's really great. Essentially, Richie tries to save Eddie from being killed, and there is multiple endings, I believe, from what I've heard, and I definitely recommend it. Once again, it's called Use Your Outside Voice, Richie Tozier, and yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I will be putting up a review also on my Instagram, and that's where I've been doing book reviews on there forever, so bringing them to a platform like this, I think will be also good because it'll reach more people than just Instagram. So please, 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 please check it out. I would love you guys to, like, just experience the joy that I experience and experience what I loved about these characters. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe, comment, and thumbs up this video if you liked it. You can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, and on fanfiction as well at Unapologetically Kiki for the Instagram and the fanfiction. And then on TikTok, it is a little bit different. It is Unapologetic Geeky 1. So you can follow me there. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't want to, that's okay too. Please in the comments tell me what you thought about the books, the movies, the miniseries, the game, if you played it. I definitely love hearing you guys' opinions, and I am totally open to hearing them. This is a safe place for all of you, and I want you guys to know that I love you all. So I will see you in the next one.